who better than a real live bass player to introduce part 4 of the super bass? All right, Sean, take it away.
I think it's really funny that I thought I wasn't going to paint this guitar body. I've come up with an idea, the hot rod flames, that's really cool, I'm very excited. But the real reason I'm doing that is because I made a lot of changes to the back of the guitar with the steel bars that I'm installing, and I have to do a lot of routing, and I've made some changes to some plugs and things like that. So there's a lot of work, and the only thing is I've made all these changes really late in the game because it's becoming fall and I'm running out of warm weather. My spray booth is outside and it's not heated, so I really have to rush to get all this work done and get it outside so I can do this paint job, which isn't easy. It's pretty complicated. A lot of colors and there's clear coat, and you know, I mean, I've bit off more than I could chew maybe, but I just have to stick to it and try to get it done. So let's see how it all works out, and hopefully it works out for the best, and then I can continue on with this project through the winter. I'm just starting the sanding process, and I've got a lot to go. Every time I do a guitar body, when I refinish it, whatever's underneath it, like each guitar body is different. So, but what I'm using, this is a drywall sanding block, and I'm using that because of the nice big surface, and that'll help me keep a nice flat surface on the guitar body. You can tell some spots, like right there, I'm not even touching it yet, and there's one over here. Basically all I'm sanding right now, this is just the sealer coat. I haven't even touched wood yet. So I don't have to take all the sealer coat off, but I want this all completely flat, no low spots, no high spots. This part of the process, or part of the paint job, is really about 90% of every good paint job. You can't overlook this. You can't fast track this at all. You have to really look at every little detail, touch it a lot, look at every edge, make sure you've got all the dents and high spots or whatever. There's a little dent here, and I'm going to fill that with Bondo, as well as some areas like I've plugged the tone holes. I'm going to put a little Bondo in around there just to clean this up, vacuum it, get all the dust out of any of these little cracks just to seal it up. And then once that's done, I'll sand the Bondo, and this will be ready for its first coat of the sealer, which will help any, because there's some areas where I've gone through to bare wood, so I want to make sure those are protected. These are bare, the plugs, so we're not ready for paint, but we've made a lot of progress here in getting it ready. Alright, I got everything sanded, nice and smooth. I did a little bit of bondoing here and there, wherever there's a little ding or something that needed to be filled in, like right there. So now I'm ready to go ahead and put the sealer coat on. And just got to mix that up. And I'm going to brush it on. I can spray it, but there's no difference. Put a couple of coats on, give it a good sand, and then it should be ready for its first coat of lacquer. So this base is going to have these steel bars on the back. There's going to be this bar and then two smaller bars along the side. What I've got to do is router into the back of the body so that the steel will sit flush. And I've already done this for my old design, but I've made a design change, so that means that I have to modify this, and that's why I had these plugs put in, because I did originally want the steel bar to be up here. So like I said, I made a change. This is pretty common for me when it comes to projects that I'm experimenting with. So anyways, here's my template that I made, and I've already have little pencil marks to show where it has to be lined up. So all I need to do is run the router along here and take out just the thickness of that steel bar. I gotta say, this is probably one of the craziest setups I've ever done. Because this is so wide, I have to span, it's about 4 inches or so. The base of the router would fall in, so that means my route would be very messy. So what I've done is actually just temporarily put this board on the bottom of my router so that when I go from side to side, the router does not fall down into that space. I have these boards set up underneath so they have the right depth to take out just the right amount of wood. Alright, let's see what happens. Okay, that went pretty well. I'm pretty happy with that. The important thing is that this fits in nice. It's nice and flush, just the way I wanted it to be. And one little mishap here, tiny little bit, went a little tiny bit deeper, but I kind of knew that I would here and there. But that's what Bondo's for. So we'll just touch that up, the rest is fine. And the other pieces that go in here will be shaped later. I have to shape them to that exact shape, no big deal. So it's coming along there. I tried sitting my pickups in here just to see what they look like, and I discovered that these pickup holes are smaller than my pickups, so which means I have to route these out. So I made this template. This is the bit that I'm using. It's I guess around 1/4 of an inch bit, which is the same radius as in here, along there in the corners. So the bearing will actually ride along the edge of that template, but it's only going to cut in a little ways. So the route will actually be smaller than the template, so exactly where I want it to be.
Wait for the Johnny B bass guitar!